Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Local Himbo, and we are back home. Thankfully, the hotel arc is over. It took longer than expected because I think my old video said I'd be out for a month. It turned out to be 5 to 6 months. But it is what it is. But I do want to talk about is when I got back. And when I got back, we're talking about Portcon Maine 2025. Obviously by the name, it takes place in Portland, Maine, which for the longest time I didn't realize that. When I used to work for my old company, I used to work in Portland, Maine all the freaking time, not realizing that it was an anime convention happening during the summertime. Last year was the first time me and the usual crew I was with experienced it, and for the second time, we really want to check it out. But this time was a little bit different because Portcon, Maine has been around for over 20 years, and it was always at the Hilton Doubletree across the street from the Portland Maine Mall, or the Maine Mall. I'm just giving it new names because I'm an idiot. So the fun part I really would say about my travel there was when I left Baltimore, I left on a Wednesday. And I was going to Portcon that Thursday, which from where I'm at is about a 3-hour drive. So not only did I go from Baltimore, Thurgood Marshall, all the way to TF Green and Providence, and then the next day got everything together, drove the car 3.5 hours up there. Wild ride, but honestly was worth it. Parking there, I'm not gonna lie, is kind of a nightmare, but that's why they're moving. So getting there, of course, I picked up the old crew. We all go, we all meet up there, have a great time. So the first day, of course, something that Portcon does that I like that's different than any other con was their Thursday, their day zero, is actually has things to do. They have events, they have panels, they even have the artist alley. Now, here's the thing. You're telling me, Ryan, I've been to other conventions, bigger conventions. They all have that. But you're talking about like your mega cons, your big boys, your San Diego Comic Cons, which I think honestly open on like Wednesdays, or like I think Kyle mentioned Anime Matsuri's the same exact thing. But to have like a medium con do that, it's not necessarily typical. I don't even believe Anime Boston does a Thursday. Thursday is their day zero. Sometimes I like to joke when we go to, Katsu, we show up on Wednesday, and I call that day -1 after freaking Godzilla. But anyway, Thursday is the day we showed up. Of course, parking nightmare, but we figured it out. I parked across the street at the mall, because it's really directly right next to it, and we just walk. We'll just bring our bags up later. So the first thing, of course, when you go to an anime convention, what's the first thing you hit up? Merchant Hall, Artist Alley. I want to give money to the artist. I want to give money to the merchants, because that's why we're there, to spend money on random shit. But we love it because random shit is always awesome. Now, it is, I will admit, small. It's a small venue, but it's fine. Everything about that place, their setup works. It does get crowded. Of course, it's a small con that's been in the same place for 20 years, but that's why they're moving. But we're going to move on from that. All the artists there were fantastic. I've seen cool-ass tapestries. I've seen some funny art. A lot of fish, which is a weird thing to say. Call me Matthew Broderick. Oh, great. Another Godzilla reference in this. That's a lot of fish. But yeah, no, a lot of like sharks and mola molas. Well, they could have had more mola molas because I fucking love mola molas. I saw a Nami Lucaris, which I couldn't tell you if that's a fish or a prehistoric creature type of fish. Who knows? I'm not a scientist, paleontologist, Jurassicologist. Anyway, but the artist alley is great. Same old stuff. Usually the same setup is about the same. You got your 2 rows and you got a second room for the artist alley, which is one giant circle. Man, I mean, calling it 2 rows makes it very disingenuous, but it's great. I love being there. I bought a few things. I bought a nice lanyard, but overall, great time. Enough about me spending my money on random things that I love and enjoy. Let's talk about cosplay games. The cosplay games at Portcon are Lip Sync Battle, Dance Battle, Deathmatch, Interstate Fandom Alchemist Exam, kind of slipped through that one trying to talk. Idol Showcase, Masquerade, Dating Game. Am I missing any? If I am, my bad. I wouldn't really call a Masquerade or an Idol Showcase a game show, but events. Let's just call them events. So Friday was the Lip Sync Battle and the Dance Battle. I participated in the Lip Sync Battle along with a bunch of friends from the show and my personal friends, like Daddy Spookum's Ken. Shout out to Roger, Abel, Blondie Sunday was there, did a routine with Ashtray, a whole bunch of us. So for me joining the Lip Sync Battle, I will say honestly, I was rather nervous. Now, I really don't talk about some of the things that I do in anime conventions, but I will tell you this. For the past 3 conventions, both Pop Cult and AAC, I've won the lip sync battles. This one would make 3 in a row, which I'd like to joke saying I would be a Triple Crown winner if I won. So I would say I was honestly very nervous. This year, I tried as Hal from Hal's Moving Castle. Another exciting thing that they had me do was 5 songs as opposed to 4, because from what I was told, the lip sync battle is one of their bigger events that everyone's excited for. While that added more pressure, it made me more excited. I do like to let y'all know is that I was on the waiting list. So here's the thing. If you're on a waiting list for any cosplay games, still work on being and putting your best foot forward. Because at the end of the day, when they call you up, you want to make sure you give a good performance. And like I said, I was able to wait off the waiting list. I practiced in all of my hotel rooms with the AC cranked up. And by the time they told me, hey, Ryan, someone dropped out, you're on, I was able to go on stage and ultimately win first place. Now, I had a lot of fun because even with all 5 songs, the last song was like the celebration song. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of not practiced that one as much because I really wanted to make sure my first few really kind of sold it. The first few songs I did. So the first one was Rather Be by Clean Bandit. That's What I Like from, not Usher, from Bruno Mars. Tipsy, or Bar Song from Shabuzi. BTS's Butter, which I thought was really funny. And the last song was Shut Up and Dance With Me by Walk the Moon. Great competition. I got to go up against my friends who had hilarious routines. Someone was dressed as Cat in the Hat, which was wild, which was hilarious. Shelby and Ashton were doing straw hat routines. Roger was Johnny Silverhand. Sini Miku by Abel. It was wild. It was such a good time. But overall, it was a lot of fun. And let me show you my trophy. Of course, here's the trophy. I mean, you can't really see it. It's kind of blurry, still getting used to this new setup. But it is the first place trophy for the lip sync battle. I really want to give a shout out to Kayla, who was also the host for AAC's lip sync battle. When they introduced me to get on stage to get the trophy, they also mentioned that this would be my 3rd consecutive win and was able to pass me the microphone so I could officially address the crowd and retire. Yeah, I officially retired at Portcon from lip sync battles. Initially, it was really nice to say that when I started at Pop Cult, I did it because I thought it was fun. And then I won. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I kept doing it when I went to AAC because making dance routines and singing along is just so much fun. And I was excited that I won there. So when it became the Portcon, I was like, oh my God, am I doing this again? But I knew if I were to do that, I was going to retire. And I didn't tell anybody I was retiring. It was something that I just knew that I can only do this so much. I don't want to just keep coming up with routines and showing up. And lack of better words, read the writing on the wall. Like, Ryan, stop showing up. What are you doing? Not to toot my own horn here, but I, still there and still here. I like to say thank you all for not just cheering me on, but cheering everyone else on at the local events of just, we're all out there, having fun, doing our teams, lip sync battling, and it's just so much fun. So if I had to say it here and I'll say it again, thank you all. I'm officially retired. It has been a great run. I know that I will be showing up to Portcon. Nope. I get these confused all the time. Excuse me. I know I'll be showing up at Pop Cult just to be like the intro guy to say, hey, you guys don't know what a lip sync battle is? Let's show you your routine. Ryan, come up here. And, that's the extent of what I'm able to do now. But between, just working and my extracurriculars, gaming, and making videos, well, I'm not going to lie, guys, I'm old and it's getting a lot harder to do all these things. And I would like to admit that I'm running out of music that I think would be really fun to do because I'm old. I don't know what the youths are listening to. As you heard me say before, I think the most modern song was Bar Song, but that was a remake of Tipsy. And prior to that was BTS, which is the one, like I would say, pop song that I actually was like, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to do a K-pop routine. But overall, lip sync battle was a lot of fun, and I was happy to win and get the Triple Crown. Like I said, I don't really like talking about myself in that regard, but thank you for listening, I guess. One thing I like to mention about Portcon is while it is small, they do it in conjunction with the mall across the street, which they have round one, which is so much fun because if you're a cosplayer, round one is a fantastic place to just do photo shoots. The neon lights, the dark things, just arcade. If you've never been to round one, do yourself a favor, go to round one. It's so much fun. You know, Japanese crane games, which I will admit is one of my addictions. I love playing crane games, both American and Japanese. It's weird to say, but of course they're completely different between UFO machines and claw machines. Woo. Simply speaking, it's cool because also the mall gets involved knowing that people are going to be there. So like Newberry Comics will like have post up in the front of their store, have a nice background, and have people take photos, as well as not only professional photos, but have people vote on what cosplays do they like. And the mall, the Portland, Maine. I keep calling it the Portland, Maine Mall. It's just the Maine Mall. The Maine Mall is a fantastic mall. One thing you can always do there is, of course, get food there. Of course, there's box lunch, Miniso, round one, as I mentioned, but people generally get excited about it. They also like to rent a room to host a garage sale. I love the garage sale. Now, this is the only place that I know that does it this way. So the garage sale for Portcon is people will come in and drop off their stuff, and they will put numbers on them, and they will tell them how much they're worth or how much they would like to sell it for. So you would just go there, pick something up. I've gotten VHSs there. I got like buttons that I haven't seen before. I found this last year. I found Ryoko. This is my rare. I got my freaking Ryoko figure. Someone was selling it for like $5, and I was like, hell yeah, let me get that. I know we're talking more about me spending money, but I don't care. You're watching, and you're gonna hear me talk about it. But this year they had one of those. It used to be at the David's Bridal, but then they had a different outlet store, which was the old Xfinity store, the Spectrum, Xfinity, whatever. So they had it there, which was across the street. Definitely different experiences, but it's really cool that not only locally are they recognized just as a convention, but other places like businesses are willing to just open their doors and do things specifically for the convention. Going in there the first day was rather rainy, but as the weekend went on, things got a lot better. Moving on to Saturday. Saturday was a lot of fun. I want to give a shout out really quick there were Peter Griffin cosplayers. Now, I said that with an S because there were 4 of them, and all 4 of them would do the 4 Peters, as well as they would all sing the bird, which shouts out to RJ and shouts out to Manta Ray. You guys kick ass. You guys were awesome. Shouts out to the other 2 Peters. I'm sorry to know who you guys are, but you guys were fantastic. Of course, fantastic cosplay from the Maine cosplayers. I really got to give them all a shout out because if you've ever been to this area in Maine, it's like nothing. If you know Maine, it is like nothing and then a lot of things and then nothing all over again for another 2 hours. So to see a lot of the maniacs go out there, sorry, I like calling you guys that. Shout out to all the maniacs who are out there with their amazing cosplayers. You guys are great. But Saturday, of course, we have more events that were happening. But that afternoon, we did the Interstate Fandom Alchemist exam. The Interfandom Alchemist exam. That's how you say it. So that's one I also applied for, which was Saturday night. So the Interfandom Alchemist exam is a fun game where it's a local game. I don't think they host it anywhere else, where you're interviewed by 3 state alchemists on why you want to be a state alchemist. Once again, friends from the show were on there, including myself. And it was so much fun because you get the most random group of characters. Like Daddy Spookums Ken was Alucard. My boy Roger was... Oh, fuck. What's his name? I'm going to put the name here, but it is Chris Farley's character from SNL. So super random, but hilarious. And I was Roy Mustang, and there was already another Roy Mustang in the panel. So it was like, wait, who the hell are you? I was like, I'm Roy Mustang. I'm the real Roy Mustang. And I remember I had sunglasses on and just acted completely different. It was a nice joke of being... There's clearly the person who is Roy Mustang, and then there's me with sunglasses speaking completely different than the other guy. And it's just... Okay, well, there's Roy Mustang, and then there's cooler Roy Mustang, which became the joke. Overall, I had a lot of fun with that. A lot of improv, which I don't get a chance to do often. I used to do a lot of improv back in the day. I wouldn't say I'm good at it, but I tend to have fun. It ended with there's a physical challenge, which I would like to say like double dare, but the physical challenge at the end was they had us like have a table full of stuff, and they had like a cup at the very end, and you had to just tear it down, or well, actually you had to build something to knock it off the table. I remember, I believe it was Amy Rose from Sonic, who like built a catapult made of marshmallows. Well, no, there were marshmallows on the table, and they just made a catapult and they started launching it. Me, being a himbo and just unga bungaing, well, I just grabbed all the contained things and I just yeeted it right at the thing.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, feet in the box.
Feet where? Yeah, in the box. Oh.
All right, knock over that cup.
And thankfully I got it, which got me the victory. It was a hilarious thing. So if you guys ever at Portcon, definitely check it out. It's a really good time. But fun fact, I also got another trophy for that. Let me show you. So full disclosure, I don't know if this was supposed to be given to me, but here's the trophy. And if you look at it, it's best group cosplay for the masquerade. Now, if that's true, I don't know if I'm supposed to get it, but as a meme, if they were just like, here you go, here's the thing, that's really hilarious. I was also given that medal over there, which has the class of 2025 alchemist exam, which I love because that was a really fun panel or game to be a part of. And having two Roy Mustangs, it was just so much fun. And I just got to go out there and be silly and just do my thing. One highlight that I want to touch upon is, of course, hanging out in the room. Now, hanging out in the room and getting food with your friends is honestly one of my favorite things about conventions, because one thing about conventions that I enjoy, especially small convention, is like chilling in the room and seeing people, your con friends who you see like every 6 months. So, of course, you guys want to hang out. And, of course, you don't want to leave the area because you've heard me talk about earlier that parking is a nightmare. So, of course, you DoorDash things. I've worked in Portland a few times for my old company, and there's this really good pizza joint. I always get the name wrong, which is called Brickyard Pizza. But every time I suggest it to people, I call it Brick Shithouse Pizza. I don't know why, but I just do it because Brick Shithouse is a fantastic phrase. If you ever heard that word, you love it. I know you love it. When people are built like a brick shithouse, you ain't fucking with them. But anyway, Roger was hanging out in the room with me and my friends, and he'd ordered the most interesting pizza. Now, the pizza, not only it was, like I think it was like pepperoni, cheese, whatever, the usual fare. But the weird part was, while he had whole garlic pieces in there, he had slices of apple. Now, I don't know if you guys had slices of apple on your pizza. I tried it. I would say it was really good. Do I really think it made a huge difference? No. Did the sweetness of the apple really change anything? No. I think they cut it nice and like thin and put it on there. But Roger was feeling adventurous and he was cool enough to offer me a slice. Definitely weird, but very enjoyable. So if you're in the Portland area, definitely check that place out. Brick Shithouse Pizza. It's fantastic. So, of course, as all things must end, and we end up on Sunday. Now, Sunday was a beautiful day. Live it to its name. Beautiful, sunny-ass day. I remember I grabbed my coffee, went outside to chill in the front, drinking it, and I saw a condom on a bench. Not an open one, just packaged condom right there. You lost your mission, buddy, but hey, you know what? Points for being safe. But anyway, Sunday is the death match. While I didn't get a chance to watch it all, I did just get a small clip of Kayla in their Ned Flanders / Pope cosplay, which was hilarious. Ridiculous when you talk about it. But one of the fun things throughout the weekend was able to get correspondence with the creator of Pop Cult. Now, I don't mean at Pop Cult, not Portcon, but I was able to talk to them because we and Blondie were just talking about it in the Artist Alley. And, they reached out to us. We all just had a nice conversation. And, well, we all just started talking. And she realized I was the guy who created the video. And, we just got more correspondence speaking. And I got to say, you got to know that person's been doing convention forever, because they found the most beautiful spot where it's right in the middle outside. She laid out some chairs and we were just chilling there right underneath a tree. I was dressed as Kim Kitsuragi because I love Kim Kitsuragi and I love Disco Elysium. And this is once again my chance to tell you to play Disco Elysium because Disco Elysium is a great and fantastic game, along with Expedition 33. But I will talk about that later. But we're chilling there. A bunch of my friends came together. We're all just hanging out outside, enjoying our Sunday. And I just got to say, Portcon this year was fantastic. After just being away for 5 to 6 months and just to come back to a convention that I know that I'm hanging out with my friends, we're all having a good time and just shooting the shit. What more can you ask for? Next year, Portcon's going to be in downtown Portland, which I suggest you guys check out. We end, of course, with one of my favorite things in Portland is the Chinese buffet, to have a succulent Chinese meal, because that's always good. While is it the best Chinese meal I've ever had? No, but it's a buffet and everybody loves buffets. But overall, Portcon was a great return to form. It was a great homecoming for me, and I gotta say, I enjoyed my time there at Portcon 2025, and I can't wait to go next year. So, of course, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.